we embark on the pivotal point in a bonsai's creation, its first proper bonsai pot. There are challenges ahead. Not only is the root mass too large to fit prospective bonsai pots, but we also have decay to contend with. The root ball contains areas of soil conducive to healthy roots and other areas not so much. We must navigate through this mass of roots and dirt, extracting the decay and maintaining the healthy zones. The black matter is a combination of broken down soil and dead roots resulting from the substrate holding more water and insufficient oxygen. The issue seems to have been compounded by unlevel ground over winter, leading to inconsistent drainage. Oops. We encounter thick roots. These subterranean limbs take up space where fine feeder roots could be growing. In order to develop beautiful scale and proportion in the branches, we must also cultivate a beautiful root system capable of supplying fine twigs with the resources to stay healthy. Where thick roots serve no aesthetic or structural purpose, they are removed, all the while ensuring enough roots remain to keep the tree thriving. Later, when we style the branches, this attention will manifest as backbudding, giving us options for the design process. Coarse roots lead to coarse branches. Fine roots lead to fine branches. Repotting serves two purposes: to maintain tree health or to improve the composition. As a pot fills, the roots occupy space. Soil breaks down, reducing the capacity for water and oxygen, and therefore the effectiveness of the roots. Horticulturally, the shallow container transitions the tree from juvenile growth to a more mature habit. Visually, the bonsai pot emphasizes the design characteristics of the tree. The composition of a bonsai is found by pairing tree and pot. Some trees exude strength, imposing physical presence, or gnarliness so ugly that it's beautiful. Other trees show beauty in elegance, smooth curvy lines, and flowing gracefulness. These traits may be echoed by the size, shape, and features of the ceramic vessel. Round lines and a smaller footprint suggest feminine energy, while straight lines, squared corners, and larger areas offer masculine presence. The stability of the trunk base, coupled with the powerful limbs, suit the planted footing and strong visual weight of the rectangular bonsai pot made by Yamaki of Tokonome, Japan. As we set the tree into its new home, we secure it using wires to tie the roots to the pot. Anchoring is important to prevent movement, alleviating damage to fine new roots and root hairs. The final act of the repot, incorporating fresh substrate into the existing system. Using a specially shaped chopstick, we meticulously push akadama into air pockets around and under the existing roots. Where integration is poor, new roots struggle. At best, slowing establishment, at worst, leading to root death. Having made our move, now we wait for the tree to grow. Only when the tree has enough energy do we ask it to accept design direction. If we indulge our impatience too soon, the tree's response will be hindered. Invigorated by the energy of the summer sun, the chlorophyll reabsorbed from the foliage, the bonsai's final leaf drop indicates readiness. By allowing the tree to pull nutrients from the foliage, we ensure maximum sugar loading of the vascular cells, acting as antifreeze for the winter ahead. When pruning, a small stump is left behind. Each branch has a shoulder which must be respected. To cut it off is to invite dieback. The shoulder acts as a vascular fire door that the tree can easily close in the event of damage. Thus, air cannot penetrate and spread, preventing efficient water transport. much like a hole in a straw prevents us from drinking.
This straight bit that's just going on and on and on, I'm not going to need that. It's got hardly any ramification on it, and what is on it is just hooking back round, so I will leave a nice little shoulder for that to compartmentalise there. Nice little dab of callus mate.
Once we are confident the tree has compartmentalised the wound, shutting the door to embolism, we can process the stub for an aesthetic finish. The dead wood is cut away and cambium exposed. Wound sealer prevents further risk while stimulating cambium cells to divide and close the wound in good time.
We're at the stage now where I need to choose a front.
The front gives us a foundation from which to make tough decisions. Once selected, the front doesn't often change, but as we are now contemplating design, we revisit the decision.
I chose this front when I potted it. I didn't put too much thought into it, I just went with something that looked kind of okay. The root spread is really nice. We've got some in the foreground, some off to the side, some in the background. The trunk taper's good, some nice bark showing on the trunk. This long kind of neck effect is what bothers me most from this front. Just looks like I don't know, just like the neck of a swan just going on with no taper, just going on forever.
It is straight, vertical, and does not taper. All traits of an uninteresting bonsai.
And then if we just slightly offset it, we've still got some nice bark features in the trunk. I think we've got just a little bit more movement in this section. I mean, it's still not going to have any taper, but a little bit more movement. The other angle that I think works really well, somewhere just in there. Tweak this branch that way a bit, tweak this branch that way a bit, just so it's a bit more inviting.
We try to remain objective, searching for the viewing angle that highlights positive features and minimises undesirable traits. In fact, this tree has multiple options for a front, making the decision so much harder. Let me know what you would do and why.
I've reached a decision on the front. Thanks for all your feedback. Underneath this moss we've got some nice craggy bark. The base has got surface roots in multiple dimensions, front, back, side, rear, top, bottom. Underneath we've got options to form a nice-ish line and apex up here. This is the best compromise for me. It's got the best base, the best line and the best features. So let's go with it.
With the foundation set, now we can style the branches. Thick aluminium wire is applied to the primary, structural branches. By wrapping the wire in the same direction, clockwise or counterclockwise, that we would like to move the branch, the wire works with the bend rather than against it. Linden are beautifully flexible. Still, care must be taken. When bending the branch, the area under tension is closely watched. If a split in the bark develops, bending has reached its limit. Similar fractures to the bark occur on a windy day when full-size trees bend and sway with nature's rhythm.
When pruning linden, it's really important to leave a stub because if you cut into the shoulder, they're very prone to dying back. So when we do the prune, we leave a stub, we paste it, we allow the tree to adjust to that cut over the next 1 to 2 years. When we can see a shoulder forming where the tree's vascular system is growing around that stub, then we can come and cut more flush and treat it to heal nicely rather than being like a bulgy stub. So that's exactly what I'm going to do here. I've got my branch cutter. I'm going to stay well away from the shoulder, bearing in mind that branch cutters bite into the wood, so we don't want to go into the shoulder as we cut. I'm going to stay nice and proud. I think we're getting somewhere.
The position that wire sits is also crucially important. The contact point acts as a fulcrum, much like a knee when breaking sticks. If the fulcrum is positioned in the right place, it assists the bending process. If not, it assists in the snapping process. This time, the wire contacted the branch opposite a side shoot. Lesson learned.
Starting to look at the apical region now. We could cut back to this branch, bend this one up here, chop it somewhere around there. We could chop back to this branch, so cut that bit off there and pull this forward. Or we could sort of go a bit taller. I don't think we've got a perfect solution at the moment.
The stretched neck of the mid-trunk is a design challenge.
There we go. That's done.
In the short term, we could use some heavy bending techniques to add interest, but even a flexible species such as Tilia, the movement would be limited at this thickness. Instead, let's play the long game. Allow maximum light and air in, prune the top hard to encourage hormone allocation lower in the tree, and let the refined root system work its magic to promote the formation of new buds. Hopefully, we will get 1 or 2 new branches in the area to help solve the design dilemma in the future. It is a collaboration between hand and nature. We do not force our will onto a tree. We speak the hormonal language to ask our favours. How the bonsai responds dictates the ultimate result.
If you enjoyed this video, you might also like the 2-year progression of my Cotoneaster bonsai.